everyone. I'm Marina Marokian. I'm Senior Project Manager at HMC Architects and co-chair for Women in Architecture. And today I'm your co-host for this event with Ashley Richardson that you have already seen. And she's a principal and AYRC and also co-chair of Women in Architecture. And we're very happy to have you here today. We're very excited. You guys know, some of you know that we host events every month. Our community works very hard to give you good content every month. And during this period, we were looking at what can we give you that is valuable for you during these different times. And we thought that it would be great to start the conversation on how everybody is doing. This is so different of what we were doing before and how our lives were before. And if your life is anything closer to mine with 2 kids and Zoom calls for the kids, and I put the background of one of my daughter's favorite background for her Zoom calls, because that's how the sharing of the computers and all the IT infrastructure in our house is changing. So we are IT, we are PE teachers, we are like everything now. So we thought it would be great to have this first conversation before doing other type of content for you in the future. And in order to do that, we wanted to bring people that can actually help you during this time and could give you some advice, some professional advice, and not only what I'm doing or Ashley is doing with her kid. So in order to do that, we invite, and we're very happy to have Anita Zarognian with us. She's a licensed marriage family therapist, and she has more than 20 years of experience on with Kaiser Permanente. She's right now, and she has been working with kids and families and teenagers for a very long time. And we also have Beth Wu, who is a K-5 grade teacher and Walnut Unified School. And she has a lot of experience working with kids and currently dealing with the small groups and intervention structures for struggling students. So we're very happy to have you here and very excited that you accepted our call. And we'd like to open it up for Anita and Beth to continue with the introduction and tell us a little bit more of what you do on a regular basis and how it has been changing during these past 6 weeks. So Beth, if you don't mind starting.
Sure, unmute myself. Yeah, so I have been teaching for 20 years. The first 15 were in a regular classroom setting with my own class. And then the past 5, I've been working in an intervention position where I work with children that are struggling but not qualified for special education. And so as everyone, my entire job has completely changed, and schools are tackling how to do distance learning with not a lot of time to prep and not a lot of the infrastructure in place to do so. So we're just doing the best we can as far as work. And then I also have 2 kids at home, an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. So like you, I'm trying to juggle both.
You're on mute, Marnie. You're on mute, Marnie.
I didn't unmute yourself.
Would you like to do the same? Please share a little bit about yourself and how it's had
how it's changed. Sure. I'm actually right now in the office at Kaiser. I don't know if you could see that. Hello. I don't see patients in person. We're only doing phone consults or video. So it's been an interesting, very, very interesting time. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's been a very interesting time. Half of our workforce is at home, either with kids or, you know, they have conditions that they need to take care of. And so half of us are at home, half of us are here. And I do continue. It's interesting to do my sessions on the phone these days or via video. I'm finding out sometimes people reveal more on the phone without me seeing them than in person. And I'm noticing differences. Some families have a pretty good structure, some with the school and what have you, and some families have absolutely no structure. So there's quite a variety going on with families. So, and some families are working, some families are not. And first of all, I just forgot to tell you how excited I am to be here and to see you all before we keep going, because a lot of people are in the same boat right now, and you don't have to wear all the hats all at the same time. It's actually impossible. And give yourself a break. It's, you know, these are special times, and we'll get more into this in a minute. So I don't know, Marina, if you want to keep going, or Ashley, or who's next?
Yeah, I think I would like to pass it to Ashley, and she will explain to everyone how we will keep moving. We have a few questions and a little more stuff for you guys to keep moving with this call.
Sounds good.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. So what we wanted to do is understand a bit more about the audience, all of you who are here today. We have established 5 poll questions that I'm going to be posting up here now, and then we'll be sharing the results. It's all anonymous, but just kind of this way, you can see the way of the crowd who's in here now. We wanted to do that to help guide this conversation, and I wanted to say that we wanted to do this to establish a community around these issues that we're all facing. So with that said, I'm going to launch a poll. Let me start. Again, as I mentioned, it's 5 questions, and it will pop up on your screen now, and the answers are anonymous, as I said. So if everyone could respond, I'll give you a few moments, and we'll go through each question. Okay, so it looks like we've kind of reached a critical mass here on this one. And I will share the results. Here we go, and share results. So this is about household environment. We wanted to understand who's here today. It looks like 78% have 2 parents at home, 8% single parent or 1 adult working from home, and parents and 1 or more family members to help out at 14%. So thank you, that's helpful feedback. And we'll go to question 2, which is about household relaunch polling. Please respond. Okay, so we have a critical mass here. I will end and share. So about how many kids are part of your household. No kids at 11%, 1 to 2 kids at 69%, and 3 or more kids at 20%. So thank you for that. Next question, question 3, hours worked. Please respond. Okay, and I will end this one, thank you, and share results. So this is very telling given what we're all being asked to do right now. How many hours do you work per week? 20 to 30 hours, 26%, 40 hours, 50%, and 24% at over 50 hours a week. Love to talk more about that. We'll keep going. Question 4. Struggle, launch polling. Please fill this one out.
If I can ask for the people who joined a tiny bit later after Corinne did the explanation, it would be lovely if you guys can share your screen, so your camera, so we can see you. That would be great. We have a few people who haven't done that. So it will be lovely to see everyone's faces. It makes the call better.
Okay, so I think we have a critical mass here, and I will end the polling and share the results. So let's see, working while helping kids with the homework was the top at 49%. Working while cleaning and cooking for family at 29%. Kids and or adult anxiety in the home, social, financial, other, 17%. Concern for you or your kids if you get the virus at 6%. And I'm sure if we had a write-in portion, we would have seen even more. That's why we're going to have a Q&A in a bit. So thank you. And we'll go to our last question we have for you in the poll. Question 5, activities. Here we go. Okay, so we'll give you few more seconds. I think we have a critical mass. We'll end polling and share. So this is, are you doing any extra activities that make you happy? Looks like 77% are say yes sometimes, 1 to 2 times a week, 20% at very frequent. And looks like exercise is the big one here at 77%. Others we listed are around equal. I guess music is the second most at 37%, and then around 30% for drawing, family board games, learning something new. And there's a few people already chatting here, which thank you. You can feel free to use this function. I'm just going to read out a few and then we'll get into the next segment, which is one other issue is working while getting kids to be in school. I would second that personally. And then I think that had a few other comments there. So feel free. And then again on hours, somewhere between 40 to 50. So thank you. This is so informative. And I think Marine, we can move on now that we've gathered this information. Thanks.
Yeah, so some of the things that we were talking, and again, you know, as parents with Ashley, we were talking about the struggle of how to work with the kids and when to do what. So we were talking with Beth and Anita of the schedule, and if we have a schedule and if we should have a schedule and how important is that. So I think that we can start talking about that a little bit and sharing your thoughts, Beth and Anita, on how should we manage that time, what's important to do, what's less important, and where should we focus on?
Well, I think I'll start with sort of routines and schedule. And I do think, however it best works for your family, it is really important to have some routine for the kids for their school at home. The school day is very structured, even if you're in a more open private school setting or charter school setting, it's still very structured as this is work time and now we have recess and now we have work time and now we have lunch. So if you can build some of that into your day, it's going to help your kids know what to expect. They know they have a break coming up. They may be able to focus a little better if that routine is there.
I'm going to jump on that too, that I agree. It's more helpful to have a routine because in times of uncertainty, it's good to know what stays the same, you know, and that gives you more of a sense of security. And having said that, it doesn't have to mirror exactly what school does. It's not going to. And some families are doing they're doing huddles in the morning or the night before, what to expect the next day. And so some families are doing that. And, or I don't know, Beth, if you have, I like the schedule you had. Are you going to share that one?
Yeah, I'll pull that up when you're done.
Sure. So, so first of all, just know that when we multitask, it's nearly impossible to get things done. Especially if you're trying to do homework and get your work done at the same time. I mean, everyone's different. I can't talk generalities here. However, again, generally speaking, it's really hard to multitask. So if you can, do some split time. I don't know what everyone's doing. I'm curious about that too. Meaning, if you have two parents in the house, one takes the lead on the homework, the other one does their work, and then you split. And or some families, I'm noticing they're waking up even pretty early to do work, like a block of work, like 2 hours, let's say, and then they're having the kids wake up later, like at 9 or so, instead of an early time, and then they do work chunks of time. So those are some ideas. And again, everyone's different. Every family is different. Kids are different. With smaller kids, you might even do like a 20-minute chunk of work and then 10 minutes of jumping around, exercise, playtime. So I don't know what age group people have here. I'm imagining it's a mixed group. So let's see, Beth, why don't we look at your schedule?
Okay, let me pull that up.
And Beth, when you're done, I have a few specific questions about younger kids. So I'll come to that after you've gone through this portion.
Okay, so I wanted to kind of go through some things. I already spoke to that. Of the routine really is helpful to kids, and flexibility is necessary. So in my house, we started with a pretty set routine because that's what my son really needed. And now it's loosened a bit since he's gotten used to being in school at home. But at the beginning, he was checking that schedule constantly, like when's recess, what's next, when's lunch, so it helped him adapt at that point. But when it's not working, move on. And as your work changes, don't be afraid to scrap it. Consider age and temperament. So some kids are able to attend for a longer period of time than others. And age is really a big factor. So when we're planning lessons in the classroom, the sort of general rule of thumb is about 10 minutes per grade level for like a lesson. So a first grader is probably not going to be able to sit and watch a screen for more than 10, 20, 30 minutes without needing a little bit of a break. And then as they get older, hopefully they're able to attend to that a little bit longer. Brain breaks. So as Anita was saying, like a little movement break, have a snack, get up. And I've had my kids like go run downstairs and back up and see how fast you can get. Something to get them moving in between might be something to consider. And then a balance between when they're going to need your help more and when you can give them something to work on. Maybe they're having a Zoom class with their teacher, hopefully, and then that could be some time for you to tackle work. And if you have older kids, they may want to help in creating their schedule and the order they do things in. Is that helpful?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so could I speak to some of the questions that are coming through, and then maybe Beth
Sure.
and Anita, you could both speak to them?
I'm trying to find my other screen.
Oh, that's okay. So we're getting a lot. I mean, I think this is, thank you all for using the chat. I'm going to read a few of these. There's a theme here with us parents, and myself included, who have children, young children. So, let's see. I'm going through struggle with the 3-year-old, 2-year-old, 11-month-old, keeping a routine while working back-to-back on Zoom calls with young children. I share that same issue. Yeah. Does anyone have a sample routine for toddlers that has been working? So the theme is around young children. Then people are providing great information on the age spread that they have. And I think it really does vary based on the age of your child. So could we hear from you on very young children with working parents during this time?
Actually, can I say something about Zoom calls and little ones? Yeah. So with Zoom calls and little ones, most people know that these days everyone's at home with their kids working. So it's okay before we do a Zoom call to let people know my child might walk in. And so that you set that up before, like the first minute that the Zoom call, if you can do that. A lot of people are doing that so that if that happens, it's not a surprise. If that happens, then give me a moment. I'm gonna go and give my child to the other parent. And some parents are putting signs in front of their doors, like a stop sign for little toddlers. Sometimes they do stop, sometimes they don't. I'm curious about what other people are doing though. Those are a couple of tips.
Rita S. Carter has a routine with her 2-year-old. Would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. So my husband and I, obviously, we're both working from home. My 2-year-old, the stop, do not approach thing doesn't work for him. He doesn't really follow rules. So I think on the second day of working from home, my anxiety levels were through the roof. We were going to do 2-hour shifts, but you know, we've got calls all day, so I don't think that would have worked. So eventually, one of my son's daycare teachers accepted to watch him from 9 to 4. And that has been a huge, huge, huge help because while I wake up early to get a couple of hours in before he wakes up, my son meaning, then I work from 9 to 4, and then we both either tag team the evening if we need to do some additional things, or we both hang out with him. And I know there's like a slight risk in bringing someone in the house, but that teacher knows my son. She's assured us she's not doing anything, so she's staying safe, and we're not going out, so we're staying safe. So in all honesty, I feel like that has been our saving grace, just given the volume of work that we both have to do.
I would like to add to that, Beth actually mentioned this when we were prepping for the call, that reach out to your teachers because your teachers know your kids better. My daughter teacher sent a schedule. She's a first grader, so it's not as young, but she sent the schedule that she thought that it was ideal for the kids. And at the beginning, when I was struggling with her doing homework, I shared that with her, and she was giving me pointers, and she sent the video for my daughter. And our teachers are so helpful. And I mean, I don't want to speak for everyone, but don't hesitate to reach out because they are supporting us with the kids at home too.
So, sorry, I was trying to figure out some technical issues, but, and I've been looking through the comments. I think with very young children, you know, their attention span is not going to be what is ideal for trying to work with them. And I don't have a great answer for that. I mean, I think you might have to consider a little more screen time than you might normally. There are virtually every app that is educationally based is offering free trials. They're offering, you know, a few months free. There's things where it is at least educational, but yeah, little kids it's gonna be a real challenge. I made up some sample schedules that I can show, but I think I also want to just, you know, I want you to be aware of your expectations, and I don't think teachers are expecting you to be teacher at home. And most, you know, I can't speak for every school district or every teacher, but generally the consensus seems to be about 1 to 2 hours of schoolwork a day that is being assigned. So if you find that your kids don't have enough to do, that's probably because teachers are being told not to overload. They're probably not going to have a lot of new learning happening, especially since we're towards the end of the school year with all of this. So teachers are trying to just reinforce those basic skills of reading, you know, basic math, do some writing, some journal writing. So it's not, they're not getting graded right now. So if you're feeling anxiety about they're going to get behind. They're not going to be ready for the next school year. Teachers are concerned about that, but it's also, it's just how it is in a lot of ways. And so you don't necessarily expect that you need to take on the role of teacher teaching new material to your kids while they're learning at home.
Yeah, so I have one. Oh, I just had one comment I wanted to read, and then Anita can speak to it. But I think this is really a good one. So lots of people are posting suggestions in the chat, which is awesome. But from Mina, I think a lot of people will relate. My kids are 6 and 9 and fight me on everything. They fight the schedule, they fight schoolwork, they fight me on going outside, they fight me doing online exercises, they don't play video games, rarely watch TV, which I can't hold against them. Do I let them do whatever they want? I'm worried they will not be able to adjust going back to school. And I think you speak for everyone here, Mina. Thank you.
I saw that one.
Anita.
Yeah. Thank you. That was standing out for me. That was exactly the one that I was pointing out. One of the things is to, everyone's having a hard time. And, you know, there are going to be days where the schedule doesn't hold. And it's okay. It's okay not to have a perfect schedule. The schedule is just a guideline. If you meet it, you meet it. And kids are going to need, they notice something's going on. They might not know exactly what's going on. I mean, heck, we don't really know what's going on either. But but the point is to give them reassurance that, okay, honey, what do you need today? So to have the have tos and the want tos, so you don't want to do any schoolwork today. So maybe before we start the week, we might have to do, have a flexible day, like Wednesday's flexible day. You know, where if you do the work, you get it done, great. If not, you don't. And I'm talking about 6 and 9 year olds. I'm not talking about toddlers right now. So you have a guide, like the routine is the guideline, but it doesn't have to be absolutely. So, and if they're fighting you, I would ask them, what is it that they want? And maybe figure that in when you build the schedule. It's like, what is it that they want and need right now? So I hope that's helpful. And I don't know what you've done, Mina, or haven't done, because I don't know you, but these are some suggestions that we might have to go with what they need, and also ask them questions. What is it that you want and need right now? You know, or this week, maybe the 6-year-old has one day they have their private thing, and the 9-year-old has their wants, you know, it's like one day each. Let me know what you guys think. It's hard to read people right now about that. Or where is Mina anyways? I don't see you. Yeah, does that help a little bit? It's just, this is such a, first of all, you guys, this is such a big subject. You cannot do it in 1 hour. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And part of it is flexibility and laughter. And someday we're gonna laugh about this. Right now it's really hard. But we'll get through this. This is not forever. It's really not forever. It does feel like forever. It does. But we'll get through this. And don't worry, kids have a way of adjusting going back to school. I think it's too soon to even worry about that because, first of all, we don't know when that is. It could be in July, it could be in August, could be September. They'll adjust just like they're adjusting to this, you know? And also, a lot of kids are resenting, you know, I know some kids are saying, you're not my teacher, so don't tell me what to do kind of thing, but I'm your mom, right? So there's that too, like, oh, fine. And if you want, as a joke and a cute little thing, you can actually literally wear a hat, like, I'll be your teacher right now, mommy teacher. And so bring some humor into this, you know? I know it's hard to bring humor when you're exhausted, but at some point, when we're delirious, we need to laugh a little bit, right? So I'm gonna stop for now and see what people are thinking. And there's 6 new messages I see.
Yeah, I'm looking at those too.
There's a lot. I want to say, while Ashley looks for the question, I want to say something I forgot at the beginning. I want to say thank you, everyone, for having another Zoom call on your day.
Yeah.
Just for doing this. I know that your schedule is kind of like booked with Zoom calls and all the deadlines and all the madness. So I truly want to thank you on behalf of our committee for being here with us. This is a topic that we thought that that it was important for all of us. So thank you very much for being here. And we want to be respectful for your time. So we want to get as many questions as we can on the air. And if I want to apologize if we don't get to all of them, but we will do our best.
Before we go there, Marina, thank you. Can I address the Zoom eye strain that we all have these days? And how, yeah, we do need to take breaks for the eyes. And one of the, I like to do every 25 minutes, every 50 minutes, if you can't take a break, and just look at, even close your eyes. And maybe we could do that right now, if you guys don't mind. Close your eyes and I'll guide you through a breathing meditation. And so what we're gonna do is find your feet on the ground if you can find the ground. And this is a grounding technique. Find your big toe, the right big toe, and then the left big toe, and the right pinky toe, and the left pinky toe on the ground, and the right heel, and then the left heel. And then notice where the chair is holding you. Good. And notice if you're leaning against the chair. Now become aware of your breath. And on the next inhale, let go with a sigh. Okay, breathe in again. And then the next inhale, as you let go with a sigh, and drop your shoulders. Good. Breathe in again. This time, let go of your chin. And breathe in, and on the exhale, let go of your shoulders again. One more time, breathe in. On the exhale, notice anything else that's tight and release on the exhale. And then let's add one more thing, and it's breathing in for 4 counts, holding your breath for 4 counts, and exhaling for 8 counts. And we're gonna do that preferably breathing into your belly instead of your chest, and pretending there's a balloon on your belly. And to do that though, we have to exhale to make some room. So you're gonna exhale, and then breathe in for 4. 3, 2, 1, hold it for 4. 3, 2, 1, and out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, in for 4. 3, 2, 1, hold it for 4. 3, 2, 1, and out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do 2 more. In for 4. 3, 2, 1, hold it for 4. 3, 2, 1, and out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one, in for 4. 3, 2, 1, hold it for 4. 3, 2, 1, and out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take a look at your body now. See if there are any changes. Perhaps your shoulders have dropped a little bit. Perhaps your mind's a little calmer. Perhaps you feel where you are in space and your eyes have taken a little bit of a break. Then flutter your eyes open and join us. Okay. So taking mini breaks like that throughout the day versus running through will keep us energized, and it could be good to do with the kids. I think, for example, with Mina, with the kids losing it, mommy could say, mommy needs a break. I need to do some breathing. I need to do some grounding. And they may or may not join you, but that's a good way to start the day and take breaks, just you or even with your family. I've seen this work with a lot of families. They do join because I think everybody needs it right now. And you can, besides listening to this part of the video again, you can go to the Calm app. Calm has a lot to offer right now. Calm kids, Calm adults. There's a lot of free stuff there too that you can enjoy. And this was a 4-4-8 breath. I think I sent it to Marine and it could be shared. And there's a lot online. Thank you. I just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Anita. Yeah, we're
Thank
gonna
you. I love
share-
doing a family huddle with a breathing exercise. I feel like, I think, Anita, you're reminding us that while we're all have all these very valid concerns of this new world order, it's important just to come back to the basics of our breath. That way you're helping us remember. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. You're welcome. And remember to be more than do these times. You're not going to be as productive. I hate to say that, but, well, I don't hate to say it. We're not going to be as productive. And it's okay. It's maybe we get to value what we need to value right now. And people know that we're not as productive, and it's okay. We'll adapt to what's next. But I think taking breather breaks and huddles are really helpful. Yeah, otherwise we're going on versus dropping in, and we're a lot more productive when we're present, by the way. And that's the way to get more presence.
Thank you. Could we have a brief shift in the conversation to talk about the people who are managing to do all this and work 40 and or 50 plus hours a week, just to try to keep, there's economic fears, of course, right now. People are overperforming or trying to overperform and also manage their families and household in a new way. And then maybe both Beth and Anita could speak to that, and then we'll come back to some of these great questions. I think we lost your audio. Anita, you're on. There you go.
Oh, okay. I don't know if Beth or, well, first of all, how are you guys doing that? I'm curious about the people who are working. I'd like to hear from you guys too, like who is doing the 40, 50 hours, and what are you doing? How are you feeling before addressing that? So who is willing to share that?
Maybe Rita and Glynis would like to speak.
Okay, Rita?
Yeah, real quick. So on the weekends, while it's not fun and I would like to sleep in, I usually do still get up early to get a couple of hours in. And then when my son wakes up, I focus on him 100%. We do family stuff. But then I also get back online and work for a couple of hours when he's napping in the afternoon. And this is usually Saturday and Sunday. During the week, again, it's like the morning hours. I don't usually work at night because my brain is usually mush by then. But I feel like, at least from my position, I'm managing people and projects and clients and chasing work. I hate to say it, but I don't think I have any other choice unless I just don't chase as much work. But then that dictates feeding the pipeline. But anyway, that's all I'll say about that.
I've heard, thank you, Rita. I am hearing more parents do that, like they're working through the weekends and when kids are napping. I am hearing more of that. That is a consensus. Actually, on average, parents are working 3 more hours at least a week now, but while being home. Normally, when kids are not home and it's a normal schedule, when if you're working from home, and you tend to be more productive. But right now we have the little ones, so of course you're not going to be. You have to make choices, right? Rita, you're saying that if you're going to keep that 40-50 hour schedule and chase clients, then you need to do exactly what you're doing right now. Or I wonder if there are going to be weeks when you can curtail it a little bit. Can you choose to do that? Can you give yourself, unmute yourself.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to talk over you.
No.
You're absolutely right. I feel like from time to time, I tell myself, I'm just going to take this weekend and not actually work. I'm going to sleep in, whatever that means with a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
And I feel like that does help me a little bit of a break. It gives me that break from having to be on the go all the time.
Exactly. And by the way, I mean, I think with this whole COVID thing, we are reevaluating our lives and like, what kind of schedule do we want to have? Where do we put our priorities? And Rita, I love that you can do that. You can choose to say, this weekend, I'm not taking those 2 calls, right? Or whatever, 2 hours or whatever. So hopefully you have at least one day off, you guys. Is everybody doing that? from work, I mean, not the kids, obviously. Or some of you can bring or hopefully you can take a break from the kids too, by the way. Some people are doing split schedule where my meetings take precedence today, your meetings take precedence today, you know? So yeah, thank you. I'd love to hear from other people because then it gets me, you know, the temperature of the room too. Thank
Yeah,
you,
I'm
Rita.
seeing a lot of this. Would anyone else like to speak up? There's great comments happening in the chat. Lindsay, I see Myra, Leslie. Anyone want to speak to this issue or how they're addressing it? Otherwise, I can read out comments.
Okay, yeah.
If anyone speaks up.
This is Lindsay. I can speak up.
Oh, there's
Great.
yeah.
Hi, Lindsay.
I was just agree. Hi. And thanks for hosting this. I'm actually from Florida. I got wind of this, so I'm happy to
Awesome.
be part of this. I'm a little different. I don't have a partner that's an architect that has crazy back-to-back calls, so I get a lot more help from my husband, but I am working with my project teams in California. So the other night I had to participate in a call at 8 o'clock here, and it's 5 o'clock there for you all. So it's a little bit more difficult trying to balance also the time change and also being home and 100% available now because there's really no excuse to join the call. But I try to block out at least 12 hours a week on my calendar on focus time so that I can just be there during the day for kids and not have a Zoom call. And then 2 hours in the evening, like Sunday through Tuesday and Thursday night, I work. And then if I have to on the weekends, I'll try to catch up with some hours on the weekends, but I try to make it about family. But I also teach part-time. So it's the end of the semester and I'm grading papers for 2 classes. So I'm a little crazy with this, more in the 60 plus hours a week right now because of end of semester and deadlines being pushed up. But I think for me, like the biggest fear is like, if I do slow down too much and like, what does that mean? Like with hours being cut back or like, that's the anxiety I have versus like trying to balance work. I think we found a new norm and we're striking a road, but I think I would love to hear about how people are dealing with anxiety on like the unknown beyond like how much this will impact our industry and stuff like that, and that anxiety and how not to show it in front of kids too.
Wow, this is Lindsay. I'd love to hear from other people too. That was great. Thank you, Lindsay, from Florida. So that there was so much in there. Like one thing I'd like to address is the boundaries of time, because now that people are working from home, a lot of people they're saying, well, you're in front of a computer anyway, so why don't you blah, 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 produce this report for me, blah, blah, you know what I mean? It's since you're home anyways in front of a computer, blah, blah. So we have to be more clear with our time. This is my time. And I think you are pretty clear from what I'm hearing, other than, okay, sometimes you have to fit in a 5 o'clock LA call to 8 o'clock Florida, right? So part of it is trying to be a little more clear with our time. Like, no, I'm not taking calls at 6 a.m. on a Sunday. I'm sorry. Except if that's going to be, if it's not a pattern, right? So we have to get clear with ourselves what we're willing and not willing to do. And I think going back to mindfulness and breathing, all that, like grounding ourselves gives us a little more clarity, like taking mini breaks, what we're willing and not willing to do. By the way, I got distracted, like pleasantly distracted by Chelsea over there. Chelsea, with the little kid in the background. So that was fun, enjoyable to see, you know, to know that there are kids in the house and that you're still eating. And yeah, it was beautiful to see that. And there was, I don't know if you guys saw that news reported in Korea, was it? South Korea, where the kid comes in and he's like shooing the kid away while he's doing his work. And that felt actually really painful for me to watch. Like he's trying to make her behave. And it made me think I would not want to work with him. like he doesn't seem very nice. You know what I mean? So that's where I went. How you treat your kids. By the way, how you treat your kids on camera, be careful. Be the nice snuggly one. It's better to do that than the shoo away on camera, I'm noticing. But there was more to your what you were saying, Lindsay. I kind of lost my train of thought. There was so much in there.
Maybe I could interrupt briefly, and then I want to get back to Beth with some of her points. But
yeah,
this, I think, Amy, you've hit a, just really quick, Amy here has hit a chord. I think agree with the feeling of failure. No one is getting the best parts of me these days. Not my project teams, not my kids, not my husband. Probably not. I'll not myself. You know, it's like it's just constant barrage. And how do we manage our expectations around that? And then Beth, I want to get back to you too as well.
For me, you guys, all you're gonna do is the can and good enough in these times. And oh yeah, Lindsay, I remember about the unknown. So all we can do is all we can do. And you're not going to be your best. I don't know anyone. This is a global thing. Everyone's going through this. No matter how good you are, your best will be different than the best when things were less uncertain. And the other thing with uncertainty is having some routines that are just for you. Maybe you have your cup of tea before the kids wake up, and you might get interrupted, but at least the intention is there. Something that's just for you. Maybe it is a breathing. Meditation is huge right now to feel more certain in uncertain times. Because we don't know. And then your industry, I think all industries are changing, but I think architecture will always be there, you know, and in different forms. So who knows what kind of buildings are coming up next. So I don't know if that I hope that's helpful, and I want to give Beth a chance, and I got to go in about 10-15 minutes. Okay, just wanted to say thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so I would like to circle back to some of the things we touched on with like doing school at home. So I'd like to share my slides for a few more minutes and just kind of go over some of those ideas.
Yes, please.
Okay, so as I said, you know, just really consider your expectations, the time. We're reinforcing skills rather than trying to teach your kids brand new materials. So, you know, you're not failing your children. If they're doing some reading, if they're, you know, they'll be okay. They'll maintain skills until they can get back in a real physical classroom. And, you know, don't be afraid to maneuver away from what their teacher is assigning. If you find they're interested in something, let them go with it. My second grader is obsessed with dinosaurs. So he's reading about dinosaurs and he's gonna do some writing about dinosaurs, and that keeps him more motivated to do actual schoolwork. Positive reinforcements with the battling of not wanting to complete things. I think I saw a comment about what one parent was doing, but in our house we have lunch movie. And so if they cooperate for school through the morning, then they earn their lunch movie. And then that's when I get on the computer and touch base with my students and maybe, you know, have an office hours or something like that. And then, you know, utilizing screen time as you need it, but consider outside time, arts and crafts. I saw people commenting about audiobooks, which is great. Storyline Online is a really good site, and they have actors reading out loud, so it's really engaging and interesting for the kids. And then keep communication with the teachers. So if you have workload concerns or your kids need extra support, let the teachers know. It's hard to gauge from a remote setting how long it's going to take kids to do something, how well they'll be able to attend without you there watching over them. You know, in a classroom setting, the teacher is constantly redirecting, helping, there to keep them moving along. So if things are taking a long time, if they're struggling, if you need easier work, if you need some kind of extra support, let the teachers know, but do be patient, you know, and it might take a day to get back to you. Teachers are trying to figure out all these new programs, as well as the rest of us are. And then I just wanted to touch on like a workspace. So if kids have a space where they can access all their supplies and materials, and you might want to separate siblings, or they might work together and help each other. It just depends on the dynamic. My older one was getting very upset that the younger one got to watch videos and he had to like do a writing assignment. So, you know, consider those things. And if they can have their pencils, their paper, whatever they might need, easy and accessible. You probably want younger kids to be closer to you. Older kids might be able to be in their room, some check-ins through the day, try and reduce distractions. I think you probably don't want kids like working on the couch, working like from their bed. It just might be a little too casual and might not get them to complete much work. And then some kids, I saw an ADHD comment, some kids work better if they have some visual reminder of how long they have left. So especially that can be helpful with ADD, ADHD, put a little timer, you got 10 minutes and then you get a break and kind of structure their day in that way. And then I think that's, I have some sample schedules if anyone's interested in that. Otherwise, that'll be in the presentation that's sent out at the end.
Why don't you just share them, Beth, really
Okay.
quickly?
Okay, sure.
Put them to, yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
sounds good. Okay, I just gotta zip through this. Sorry, I just gotta zip. Oh, I can do this. Okay, so this would be an example of a pretty structured routine, and this is how we started out. And you know, my teacher side really came out, and I put this together for my kids. And so I was trying to think about what can the kids be doing, what can I be doing, and try and figure out some times where I could also work. Now we've moved into a slightly, am I going through that too fast? Oh, sorry. I need to go back.
That's okay. These will be sent out.
Yeah, they'll be available. Okay. So then this would be a little bit less structured. You just have some blocks of time. They are working with breaks. You kind of build in your own working time. You know, you could, if your kids are more productive in the morning, you really try and slam that schoolwork in the first couple hours. If they are not morning people and they want to do more of their work after lunch, you switch it around and just whatever's going to work for them. And then this I like also is, I think Anita mentioned something like this, is a more flexible routine of the day, and you just have a checklist. So each kid has their assignments that they're going to need to complete on a given day in the week. Some are more, you know, assignments like from the teacher. Some might be more fun kind of things, like maybe one kid is helping the other kid if you have older, younger siblings that can work together. And you know, you could put this on a whiteboard if you have one. If you don't, you can take a plain sheet of paper and a sheet protector and write on and off each day to sort of do your morning huddle and what are we going to get done today, or do it the night before. And so really whatever works best for your kids and for you and the family. There will be some, go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay.
No, you go ahead, and then maybe Anita could share her image, and then and then we'll have to wrap it up, unfortunately.
Okay, so there will be some resources that you'll get. So for kids that are needing some extra support, these are websites that have different academic resources. These PDFs are like a break spot we use in classes if for the social emotional issues, if kids are just overwhelmed and need a break. This little mindfulness jar is kind of fun. This first aid for feelings is specifically COVID related and helping kids work through their concerns or anxieties. And then if they need more to do, there's some cool stuff out there. And a lot of it is very can be very kid directed. Like the Scholastic is a little video and it reads them a story, and they should be able to do that pretty much on their own if they can navigate their device. There's some cool things on Khan Academy that Disney has a program set up. There's the Lunch Doodles with Mo Willems. He walks them through a drawing little activity. It's about 10, 15 minutes. So there is stuff out there. Go Noodle is a brain break. They do a dance, or there's mindfulness, meditation activities on there. So those will be available to you after the meeting.
Okay, thank you. And then we just have a few minutes. This chat is amazing. It seems like there's some interest in a follow-up, but Marine, I know you want to wrap it up, and I don't know if Anita wanted to share what we can control versus what we can't. Maybe we'll just send that out.
Anita, do you want me to share that one for you? Or
yeah, we could do that, or I could just briefly talk. I mean, you could share that. Yeah, go ahead. And then I want to add one more set of questions, especially when it comes to the difficulty of not being as productive. Oh yeah, so I can control and I can't control. You've probably seen this in social media. This was taken from Psychology Today, and then they adapted it into these times. I use this a lot anyways in the world of psychotherapy, as far as trying to focus on what we can control versus what we cannot control for our anxiety levels. For one thing is our attitude, right? Well, that's hard to do sometimes, but noticing our attitude, following whatever guidelines we need to follow, social distancing. I think people are doing really well with all that. Kindness and grace. And for this group, I would say kindness towards yourself, because we are a little too hard on ourselves, and that's a whole other topic. So especially right now, to be a little more kind. That doesn't mean you won't be productive. Believe me, you'll still be productive. Limiting social media, turning off the news. That's the other thing. If you have the news as a background all day, that's a big no-no. Please try to limit the news as much as you can, because it's a big energy zapper. Finding fun things to do at home. I think you already have, a lot of you have a lot of great stuff. Some of you, I think, are getting ideas from the chat. It's amazing. If we cannot control what other people are doing, right? The actions of others, predicting what will happen, how others react, how long will this last, the amount of toilet paper at the store still. So what can we focus on is what we have control over. And Marina reminded me that I think you're going to send that too, the circle of what I can control. And this could be a great activity for yourself and for your kids and your husbands and your partners to do. What is it that I can control in my life right now? And then what can I not control, right? Maybe the client needs this. Maybe the client needs that. They're texting me at 3 a.m. You cannot control that. Your reaction, you can. So if you would do that as an activity, that could be fun little quote unquote homework if you choose to take it between now and maybe we'll meet again, hopefully. The other piece before I go, I want to see if you could ask yourself these 3 questions. At the end of the day, or throughout the day, at least 2 or 3 times, is what am I grateful for in this very moment? In this very moment. Then what did I do right? It could be that you haven't done anything right, but maybe make your bed. Just make your bed. At least you did one thing right. And the third thing is, what am I looking forward to? Not only today, but in the future when this lockdown is over. What am I looking forward to? And not only, it could be hugs and kisses and all of that, right? Because what happens is we've been only seeing this far, like there's a fog, when in fact there's a lot we're looking forward to, including how school might be different, and a lot of things will be different, and the unknown could also be a possibility for a lot of new things. So remember, you've gone through other unknowns in your life, and I think these 3 questions are helpful. What am I grateful for right now? What did I do right? And what am I looking forward to? And this could be good for the kids too, I think. Depends on the age group. And I think I have to sign off.
That's great.
I got right now.
Thank you.
It was great being part of this. Thank you guys. And,
thank you.
yourselves.
And,
Thank you. Marnie's going to wrap it up for us. Thank you
yes,
so much.
and we want to thank you everyone for being here. And one other thing that we wanted to mention to wrap it up is let's take what's the positive of this situation. And from my point of view, the positive is something that I always wanted to do, which was spending more time with my kids, since I was always at the office working 60+ hours. So now my wish came true in a very weird way. But I think that it's let's remember and be grateful for that. I know that we have a lot of things that we're struggling with, and that's so difficult. And looking at the chat, we can see how we're all sharing similar pains. And I love that everybody's sharing strategies on how to help each other. That has been amazing for us. I want to thank you, Anita and Beth, for joining us and for giving their time for this. And before this, to prep the call, it was amazing working with you both, and want to thank you. And just, wrap it up with that. If you want to bring your kids so they can feel that they can be part of a call, and we can do a last picture with the kids. But just remember, let's try to be grateful for that, and seeing that, this is a time that we will remember later as the time that we spend with our kids for 60 or 12 weeks, we don't know now. But to remember those positive things and the times with them.